So I just installed the shower in the van and I'm looking for the perfect toilet solution. And I think you guys are really gonna like what I've come up with. Stick around. Hey everybody, welcome back to Random Fix. So yes, the camper is completely done and I'm gonna show you guys that on a separate video. But in today's video, I'm gonna focus on the toilet because I'm about to hit the road. So I've come up with something that I think everybody's gonna enjoy, including myself and the kids. So if you guys like this kind of content, make sure you guys give the video a thumbs up and also consider subscribing to the channel. So let me quickly show you guys the bathroom and then I'm going to jump into the toilet. And this is going to be a hybrid DIY composting toilet that has a urine separator and is going to cost you less than maybe $120, $130. So here's the van and got myself this beautiful shower here. If you guys see those big washers on the ground there, that's where the toilet actually fastens to, as it's got two 100-pound magnets on the very bottom and you have to lift straight up. If you try to pull to the side, it won't. It's very strong. So I am not worried about it going anywhere, and I have it securely in location. And this is where my shower is too. And the nice thing with this particular toilet is it's completely plastic. And when I put the lid down, it is going to be waterproof. Hey guys, so this is my very first time with a composting toilet. So if you have any feedback, please let me know in the comment box down below. If you have any experiences or some tips, share them with me, please. So let's start off with the toilet. This toilet is under 50 bucks and it is ultra sturdy. It already comes with a bowl and the bowl has a handle. So if you wanted something that works out of the box, this toilet works out of the box. Nothing needed. And it is comfortable. It's a good size. And I'll show you the dimensions here. But the kids tried it, I tried it, and we all gave it a thumbs up as far as the sturdiness and the size. And then it's got a toilet paper holder, which can be on the left or right side. And just slides into place. I guess you can use some disposable wipes too. And that was all included. Now that was the easy part. So what I had to do is get myself a urine separator. And this is it right here. And this urine separator came with that little screen right there. And I've never used this yet. So everything is completely hygienic. So I'm going to be touching this. There's that screen. And I don't want any odors coming back up. So what I did is I actually got a valve inside there. It's that blue one right there. And what that valve does, it actually blocks the odors and the liquids from coming back up. The liquids are going to have a really challenging time as it's got to fight against gravity, but the odors definitely can come back up. So I came up with this idea. And again, I've tried this. If I pour in a little bit of water, it'll just come out the very bottom effortlessly. And then this goes into my urine container. And this is something I bought off Amazon. You can use a milk jug. I'm sure there's a million better containers. The reason I was thinking this would be good is just because the bottom is a little wider. So it's less likely to spill and cause any kind of accidents. I'm going to show you guys what I actually did to reinforce this. But this cap goes right on like this. And I did tinker around with making a hole in the cap so that blue pipe can actually fit perfectly in there. That didn't work. So don't try it, as this is going to be too tall unless you get a shorter bottle. And then we have some odor nuke, and this is going to be basically to cover up any smells in case I do experience anything. And again, there's going to be a lot of tablets in here. I think this package is 25 bucks. This is going to last me a very long time. I normally don't go number 1 or number 2 in the van unless I'm out in the middle of nowhere and there's no other option. So, and then I got some disposable biodegradable bags with these poop packets and poo gel. So basically, once this contacts poo, it'll solidify and that will take care of that. But again, I told you guys I was trying to go for a hybrid solution, so I've come up with something a little bit different. Then the next item here is going to be these shavings. These are pine shavings, and these are very affordable and very cheap. You can get a big bag like this for $6.99 at Tractor Supply, and I'm sure I can get about 20 to 30 uses out of this. Again, I'll leave a link for anything that I show in the video in the description box down below. So here's my bucket, and this is a 2-gallon bucket from Lowe's. I did try a 3-gallon bucket, and it was going to be too high. So it'll be bucket, the bag, the gel, and I'm going to throw some shavings in here. So the liquids are going to separate from the solids. And let me show you guys what I did inside here. So to make this actually work, I had to do a little bit of shaving. So I shaved a little bit off the back, a little bit off the sides on both, nothing off the front. And then down here, I shaved the lip. So this had a bigger lip, and you can grab yourself an oscillating tool and quickly cut that. Or you can file it down for best results. And if you guys look inside, you guys will see the magnets. So on the very bottom here, we have 2 magnets. And up top, I have 2 other big washers that actually attach to the bucket. The bucket has 2 magnets. So here's the bucket, and there's 2 magnets. So this will not move on me either. Now the urine container actually pops into place and is prevented from going left or right or back because of that aluminum that I have there. I could have used wood for this, but I actually decided to go with aluminum as it's not going to absorb anything. It's going to be way easier to clean. But again, if you decide to use wood, just go and treat the heck out of it. Make sure that you put a couple of coats down so nothing absorbs into it. And on the sides, I went through and fastened that aluminum here and here on the left and right side so it doesn't go anywhere. And it's a pretty windy day today, so I'm going to go put this inside the van, and I'll show you guys everything else. And then I'm going to go and use it and give you guys my feedback and tell you guys the truth on whether this is something that I would go and suggest. So I've gone through and put one of those odor tablets inside that container for the urine. Drop the poo gel in here. And here's the idea. Basically, when somebody decides to go number 2, it'll go through there, and that's going to go and help mask some of the odor. Then they would cover the rest of the litter with this and just sprinkle it in there and put the top back on. And then I can come in here, grab the bag, and dispose of it once it solidifies. Again, this is not going to be some nasty yuck like a chemical toilet, and it is going to be ultra light. I am getting older, and I do not like carrying around 40 pounds of water and poop. It is very uncomfortable having that much weight and poop next to you as you're walking with it. And people stare at you. Now this goes in here. And with that in place, I'm going to go line up that hole. Line that up. There's going to be the final setup. This goes down. Everything is completely covered. And as a pro tip, I even went through and made this maybe overcomplicated, but I went through and put some Rain-X all over this area here so nothing sticks and nothing's going to bind. I do have some cleaning detergents that are just for this particular task. Now by this point you're probably thinking I'm a genius or I'm a complete moron. Either way, I think you have a point. But I really hate having to drive around to find a place to get rid of the chemical toilet waste. And it's really embarrassing, guys. I sometimes have to go find a porta potty, and I don't really know if that's allowed in certain areas, if it's not allowed, but people kind of stare at what you're doing, and it just takes away from the whole experience. So this may seem crazy, but I'd rather do this and throw something in the garbage versus having to carry around that 40 pounds of poopy water. Not fun. So I have 6+ reasons why I have decided to go with the urine diverter and somewhat hybrid composting toilet, if you want to call it that, as I think it's really important to go and consider all the negatives of the others, as you're going to really find that this setup is going to be superior in the long run, and it's going to be a much better experience. And I've already gone through some road trips, so what I'm about to share with you guys is from owning 3 different camper vans and RVs, and additionally having to do it myself. I know the pains, so I know what you're going through. And I did mention a few things about the composting toilet and why I'm actually going this route. And the very first one is going to be the fact I do not want to cut a hole on the side of the van to go and be able to pull out a cassette. I know that seems convenient, but honestly, if you make a mistake and maybe you get a rib or something, you're going to have a really bad day. You can't just go and replace that. That's not how it works. It's part of the unibody, and you're going to need some professional help, and you've really weakened the integrity of the van. Second thing is, I want to keep the odors down. So when you separate the urine and the solids, it really keeps the odors down. And I know there's going to be a lot of tricks out there about using certain chemicals to go and preserve seals or keep that odor down. And I've tried a few of them, like the vinegar ones. And honestly, they ruin my toilet. Vinegar actually destroys rubber and it makes small pits. And that will allow for the odor to basically come up and the water to seep down. And I had a very smelly adventure on the way to San Diego one time. And this is how we learn, guys. We live and learn. Now, I did find a solution for that seal that went bad, but to keep it from going bad, I had to use this very thick liquid, and it was expensive. Basically, I needed to keep it in that liquid for the time I wasn't using it. So I found myself basically becoming a maintainer of toilet seals, and I don't like that job title, and it was not a lot of fun. Now, the fourth reason I have for deciding to go with this toilet setup is, honestly, when you are visiting a big city, it is so hard to find a dumping station, especially in busier states like California. In California, I had quite a few adventures with the full black tank in my RV. That was not fun. I had to basically drive, I think, 3 hours each way just to go and dump somewhere. And when I got there, there was a line. Everybody else was touching that particular area. And I tried to wear gloves and stuff, but it was not fun. And I found that it's getting even harder and harder to find dumping stations. So this method is just so much easier. And I'm going to talk a little bit about this because I've actually completed about a 3-week trip with my 2 boys and wife to Colorado. So I'll let you guys know how that whole trip went. Let's jump into the 5th reason why I decided to go this particular method. And this is going to have something to do with the pump. So I previously got one of those Thetford toilets, and it has a battery operated pump. Time I showered in there, about 2 weeks later, that pump would basically rust, and the batteries, everything else would corrode. And I had to go get a new pump, and the pump was like 200 and something bucks. When you do that 3 times, it kind of gets annoying. And I found out they actually make a piston pump, which is a hand pump, but they want like 3 times more for that manual pump versus the automatic pump. So I just didn't want to go and break the bank for a toilet, because honestly, when I'm at home, I'm going to go and use the indoor toilet. When I'm on the road, most of the times I'm going to go to a rest stop or a restaurant, the gas station, and use a toilet there. And the very few times I do use it at nighttime, it is not that important for me to go spend $1,500 and still have to go through a setup and potentially making a hole in the van. So I think you guys are going to like what I'm about to show you guys at the end and the results I've been getting. So, and the 6th reason is going to be some of the units that are priced a little bit better don't make base plates. So I'm going to go and buy the unit, pay all this money, and I still have to find a way of mounting it myself. Since the unit's heavier, I have to use heavier duty components to make sure that that toilet doesn't move. And this toilet, honestly, probably weighs under 5 pounds. It's really light. And because of that, I only have to use 2 magnets. And for my road trips, I haven't seen any movement, and it's been working out good. Now, there's a kicker to this that maybe I didn't mention, and maybe it's the ultimate reason to go with a urine diverter and this style of toilet. Besides the price savings, is going to be the fact I don't have to carry around 50 pounds of poopy water every time I'm going to go and empty that, because it gets to be heavy and it's nasty. I no longer have to do that, and I just have to dispose of a trash bag and walk into any public restroom and dump the pee out. And again, I'm using those little tablets, and those tablets work out amazingly well. There was no odors on my trip, which is amazing. Now, I own plenty of 5-gallon buckets around the house, and I know there are seats available for those as well. And honestly, guys, it just doesn't look good. Whenever somebody's using the van, if I decided to go with that bucket instead of a piece of plastic that looks more like a toilet, people don't give me that weird look. Whenever I look at somebody pooping in a bucket, it's just not a good scene. And if I did buy a Home Depot or Lowe's bucket, I would literally paint it in a different color because I don't want to feel like I'm pooping in somebody's paint bucket. Just like people have to wait in line to go use the bathroom, I'm going to make my family wait in line for an interview on their experience of using the bathroom on the trip.
Hello, I'm Zishan.
Get in line. Get in line.
So our previous van, we had like a full-on like refurnished like house toilet, but then the problem is that plumbing the stuff out was a bit of a mess. So instead we went plastic, and we can just like put it in a garbage bag, and that's it. It just makes things simple.
This guy has taken the most amount of poops in that bathroom. So share your experience with us, buddy.
With the toilet?
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, the toilet seat is comfortable. It sounds like it's plastic. It's thin. It looks like it's gonna be weak. When you sit in it, it's like strong like bull. As long as you have magnets straight to the ground or something with it. And like the taking out the pee and poop, since my dad said it was very easy. While the last van we had like the poop and pee was all mixed up, so it was all yucky. And my dad said that was a pain in the butt taking that one out because you wouldn't want to touch it. Well, this one he said it's kind of easy, and you just throw some odor nuke, which is like something that gets rid of odor.
One thing my family didn't disclose to you guys is they don't ever do the bathroom stuff. My wife has never touched it, and I don't think she's gonna touch it. This setup right here is a lot easier, so I don't think she's actually overwhelmed with it. Yeah, I am the person that basically handles the duty. And I gotta tell you guys, I'm not hating it. So I'm gonna turn the camera around and show you guys the final setup, and you guys will find all the links down below, as well as all the additional supplies that I've used for the van, the plumbing. And if you guys like what you see, I'll leave you guys a 360 video tour so you guys can check out the whole van. Okay, so here's gonna be the bathroom. Again, this bathroom is from Van Life, and I got it from Van Life Outfitters, and the shipping is included, and it takes literally 1 hour if you have the right tool. I'll leave you guys that video. Again, I have 2 lights in here, and these lights can be dimmed, or you can also turn them into blue lights. So at nighttime, they're not gonna bug you. And this is my final setup, guys. So I went to IKEA, found this for $10. It was on sale. There's gonna be my shower head, and I normally don't have it plugged in because I don't shower in here every single day. But if I wanted to, I could. Everything in here is either gonna be aluminum or plastic, so it's not gonna rust. It's easy to clean, and the floor is teak, so it's not gonna mildew. Then I have some wipes, and you don't need to use any special wipes. You can use your cheap, inexpensive, because they're better quality in my opinion, and they're a lot cheaper. In there I have the odor nukes and the gel, and then I just have a cleaning tray here. So whenever I'm on the road after a week and I quickly just clean out the shower, and taking everything out is gonna be about a 2-minute job. Again, here's gonna be the toilet, and in there is going to be the bag. So it's the biodegradable bag. In the bag, I normally throw this. This is just pine shavings. You get them at your local Tractor Supply, and you get a big old bag for $6. And out of that $6 bag, I've probably used about 25 cents of it. It goes a long way, and on a longer road trip, I took 2 of these with me, and I did not open the second one, so it goes a long way. After somebody goes number 2, you can throw some of this on here, and then you take some of that powder that I showed you guys in the very beginning, the gelling agent, and you throw that on top. You can throw as much of this as you want. It doesn't take up much room. Most of the time I go and empty it there. Now if somebody wants to go do number 2 times, they're gonna just go and repeat it, and I've never had any situation where there's been 3 number 2s in that particular bin. But if that did happen, what I would do is I would go and throw one bag inside the other bag. There's a lot of space in there, guys. There's no number 2 that is gonna go and fill that in. It'll take probably about 10 to 15 uses to fill up that bucket. Now the urine is super easy. What I do with that odor nuke tablet, I normally just throw it right in here if I forget to get it in the bottle. But if I have a chance to actually get it in the bottle, I will. And sometimes I'll throw in 2. They're very inexpensive. And again, there's the strainer that it came with right there. And I just found this pipe at my local hardware store. Use a hose clamp, it keeps it in place. And then that little blue part you see underneath the drain, that's some sort of odor blocker. So it allows the urine to go down, but it'll close up as soon as the liquids are done. And I think it helps with the smell because it doesn't have just a big gaping hole to escape. And when I'm on the road, I would say about 7 or 8 peas are going to go and fill this up. So you can get yourself an extra jug, and it does have a top. You could just close it up, or you can find yourself a better container. And again, if you find one that works amazingly well, please let me know which one it is. And I've thought about using bigger containers, but I might do that in the future. If this survived a 3-week trip to Colorado, I don't think I'm going to have any issues with it. And it is held in place by those 2 100-pound magnets that are very inexpensive, are light, and are very easy to add. And underneath we had that 80-20, which is that material. As I think using wood in the long run, unless it's super sealed, may get to be a little funky, but this particular shower is not going to have that issue. And so far I really like the setup. I don't have any complaints. Now you probably have a couple of questions that I'm not answering for you guys. So what do I do with the pee? I go through, once it's about 60% full and I walk into a public restroom, I just drain it in there. If you wanted to carry a bigger container and dump it in the container and then empty that out every 3-4 days, that's completely up to you. And for the black bag, what I do is I make sure that it has that pine shaving in there, and then a lot of more pine shavings on top with that gel. It gets the job done. I have no issues. And I do have a lid for that bucket, but I've never had to put that lid on because it's never really bothered me. And if I am being completely honest, I don't take any chances. So if there's a number 2 in that particular bin, I always make sure that the fan is on the lowest setting, and my particular fan doesn't need to be actually open to suck air out. Even with the lid closed, it'll suck air out. And it was a really nice fan. I think I paid like $150 for it. It keeps the van nice and fresh, doesn't let any foul smells build up. To keep the number 2 bucket from moving, you want to make sure that you have the magnets on the bottom of the bucket, and also maybe a 3rd attachment so it has a handle. And what I did with my handle, I just inserted a screw somewhere that was low down enough so when that handle has enough pressure on it, it cannot move. So let me actually try to show you guys. I used that screw as a friction point, and basically locks that bucket in with the addition of the 2 magnets. But you really don't need to go with the magnets if you use that screw idea right there, and it will not move anywhere. So really easy to do. Putting this back is ultra simple. And I'm doing this with one hand as I'm recording. So there is the tablet in there. Again, there's no urine. And when I get home, I take everything out and I disinfect and let it dry overnight outside the van. And then I bring everything back in. And that gives me a chance to get all the sand and muck out of the shower as well, instead of putting it down the drains. And my shower does have some vents up top, and I do have the shower curtain here, so I can close those off if needed. Anyway, like me, you probably have a few questions, so I'm gonna go and think about this some more. But if there's something I'm forgetting, please don't be afraid to comment down below, as I will do my best to point you in the right direction. All right, guys, so it's been 6 months, and this is the update. Let me turn the camera around. So after 6 months, this is going better than I even expected. It's amazing, and I haven't had any issues. Again, dumping it out just means grabbing the jug, dumping it in the toilet at the house, rinsing it out, and adding 2 more tablets. In the summertime, in the winter, I just use 1. And that porta potty in the toilet area has literally become my garbage can for anything that's not plastic. So wipes, paper towels, everything goes in there. And I honestly don't have to empty it out much, as we only use the vans on the weekend to go to kids' games and such events. Now, before we go ahead and end the video, I want to go ahead and lay all doubt there's not a better system in the world. So let me show you guys some of the available options and some of the reasons why that might not be the best choice for you. And also, after using this for a long time, I have learned to go ahead and keep the lid for the jug up here. And I left you guys links for everything that I mentioned in this video down below. After almost 6 months of use, this is how much of that pine shavings I have left. So I have this plus this. So I think this is probably going to last me many years to come. $6. Tractor Supply is right there. And they're called pine shavings. You could also use cat litter, but this just smells a lot better, and it's really inexpensive. All right, guys, so let's talk about the competition and some of the different choices. So when you look up camper van toilets, you're going to get a lot of choices, and you're going to get very confused, just like I did the very first time I jumped into the subject, and I was trying to find the right solution. And the prices here are going to be quite dramatic. So let's jump into what I chose last time, other than the bucket, because the bucket is just not a lot of fun and it doesn't look good. Let's talk about this. This is the toilet I actually had, and it was a nice toilet. It was a little cumbersome to carry, so it wasn't very sexy to walk into a bathroom carrying this. Trust me, guys, people stare. And whenever I showered, a couple of weeks later, the pump would go out. And right now, the pumps are actually on sale. They're about $100. But I really feel that replacing the pump every 2 weeks after you take a shower is a waste. And again, I'm going to have to go deal with it. I don't like anything mechanical whenever I am on the road, as a lot of times the issues come up at the worst times. And they do make other pumps that are not electronic. So this is going to be the piston version. It's a manual pump. And the manual version is almost 3 times the price. Then I need to go buy a base plate, which is right here. Additionally, some of these smaller ones over here are not really comfortable for full-size adults, and they don't offer a base plate. There are going to be chemical toilets like this, and honestly, this is not a brand I've tried. However, just know sometimes you're going to really have to start dealing with complex systems, and again, you're carrying waste around like this, and it's not very easy to go and clean this on the road. The thing that I do like about this is the fact that at least the solids and the liquids are separate. And this is going to be a little bit pricier compared to what I'm showing you guys. Then here's those cassette style toilets. These are the ones that require making a hole in the van. This is something I normally don't recommend, as if you make a mistake, you're going to really get yourself in a lot of trouble. You are going to then have to go cart this into a restroom and dump it. And in bigger cities, this is really hard to do. And here's a generic toilet that you often find on Walmart.com or Amazon.com. And again, the issue with these toilets is there's no base plate. And if I go attach my own magnets to this, sometimes the glue that the magnets use to attach to this will go and eat that plastic up over time. and putting bungees over the toilet is not really a nice look. And now we're going to get into the higher priced items. So this is Airhead. This is a composting toilet, and it's a true composting toilet. A lot of people rave about this. The thing that I don't like about this is I have to make a hole in the van, and people have complained about the odor coming into the cabin because the outside wind sometimes blows in when it's gusty. You're going to have to worry about exhaust getting into the vehicle. And again, you have a lot more moving components. So you have this handle you have to keep touching. There's going to be a fan, and that fan might need to be replaced down the line as it needs to run 24/7. Here's another competitor. This is called Nature's Head, and some people like this version better as it's got this nice cutout so you can quickly empty out the liquids without having to deal with the solids. Again, when you're dealing with a composting toilet, cleaning this up on the side of the road is not very nice, and it could definitely be a very dirty job, and you are going to have to buy very expensive media to throw in here, and those costs definitely add up. And if money's not a problem, this is the toilet I would get, and this is literally like a diaper genie. However, you're dealing with parts again, so there's a battery, an adapter, and basically every single time you pee or go number two, you're going to be paying anywhere from $2 to $3, as these particular cartridges can be upwards of $75, and each one of them is going to get you about 11 flushes. I think they come in a pack of 3. I looked at them about a year ago, and they were very expensive. I didn't want to go this route, and I think that's a whole lot of plastic waste, and I don't know if these are really biodegradable or not. But long story short, the toilet that I showed you guys is about $36 and a little change, and it comes with a bowl already. So if you need to really hit the road, you don't have to do any kind of modification. And then down the line, you can get that urine diverter. I would not go with another toilet after discovering this. And after the almost 6 months of use, the only downside to this particular toilet is the fact that it kind of has to be jerry-rigged. So I'm not sure why there's not a company already pre-making this. So basically out of the box, we'll get the toilet, the urine diverter, and everything else attached, and all we need to do is go use it. It's amazing, guys. Honestly, one of the best toilets I've ever used. And as far as simplicity and ease and not having to deal with all that gunk, it's a complete winner. Give the video a thumbs up, and as always, guys, make it a great day.